Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I haven't been reading very much lately. I read 2 books in November, which is a very low number for me. I think generally I read anywhere from 5 to 10 books. Sometimes it's on the higher side, but 2 is pretty low for me. Sorry if you can hear my children being maniacs in the background. They are having quiet time. They're supposed to be taking a nap. They're having quiet time, and their quiet time can get a little loud. But I digress. The point of this video is that I just want to spend some time reading. I have 2 books that I'm currently reading that I need to finish before my hold at the library runs out. And so I thought, you know what? How about I take you along with me? We can do a fun, chill little reading vlog, see how much I can get read kind of during this nap time and then also tomorrow's nap time. So the 2 books that I'm kind of hoping to finish in this video are Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Talk about that in a second. And what's it called? The Way of Trees? Is that what it's called? The Life of Trees? The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. That is about how trees communicate with one another. I'm partway through it. I'm absolutely loving it. And I only have a few days before my library hold runs out. Now, as far as Mistborn goes, my library hold did run out. It returned automatically. I put a new hold on it so that I can finish it, and then last night I opened my Kindle and it was still in there. Like, it opened to that book. So I think that if I just don't exit the book, maybe it will just stay on there, and I don't feel bad about doing that because it is returned to the library, so I'm not preventing anybody else from getting it. If I was preventing someone else from getting it somehow in a bad way, then I wouldn't do it. I think it might just be like a glitch. So I'm going to take advantage of that glitch. I'm going to read my book. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Those are the 2 books that I'm hoping to finish today, tomorrow, sometime in there. My camera's about to die. So I'm going to plug it in. I'll get some B-roll for you at some point, and I'll check in with you. I'm about halfway. I think I'm like 60% of the way through Mistborn, and I don't know, maybe like 30% of the way through the Hidden Life of Trees. I'm not gonna check, because I think that if I exit out of Mistborn, it'll go away. So I'm only gonna stay in there. But yeah. So I'm gonna give my camera a little charge, and then I'll get some B-roll for you, and I'll check in with you of where I'm at. Hey, how are ya? So I finished Mistborn last night. My Kindle even reloaded and it was still on there. I really don't understand how. Like, it has to be glitching somehow because it's completely returned to the library. I don't even have a holdout anymore because I was like, I can cancel my hold because I finished it. So I don't really know how that happened, but I'm gonna take it as a win. I'm gonna take it as a win. So yeah, I did end up really enjoying this book. I will continue in the series, I think. I will say, it wasn't a perfect book for me. It took me, this is like a 500-ish page book. I think I read, it was over halfway through. I had read maybe 300 pages before I was like, okay, now I really want to know what happens. And so it was a slow burn, for sure, for me. And then I will say, like, the writing style, I like Brandon Sanderson's writing style, but then it just randomly, every once in a while, felt so YA, and sometimes the dialogue felt so YA that I was like, whoa, what's happening? So then all of a sudden there would just be like this really violent description of like someone being brutally murdered, and then you would like have a dialogue moment where they're like, wow, she's so strong. It's like, okay. I don't know. I didn't really understand that very much, but I've heard that it gets better in like the other books, that it doesn't have that vibe as much. And then I will definitely say, like, the romance element that's in there, I had a really hard time believing. For me, it was just really like, it just felt so YA. Like, of course you're in love. You know what I mean? It didn't feel that warranted to me. Like, I was like, why are you in love with this dude? You met him like twice. He's supposed to be your enemy. Why do you like him? I also thought the ending was interesting. I thought the reveal was interesting, and I kind of saw it coming, but then when it all wrapped up, I was like, okay. So yeah, I don't know what the second book is about. I probably won't look into it at all before I start reading it. That's kind of how I roll. But yeah, so that was Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I am glad I read it. So many people have been yelling at me to read this book, so I'm glad that I finally did. And I do see why people like it so much. So I'm excited to continue on in the series for that one. So now I'm just gonna snuggle up on this bed because it's cold and rainy outside today. And I'm gonna read The Hidden Life of Trees. I think I'm like 25% of the way through right now. And I've already learned some very interesting things. I already knew about mycorrhizal networks. It's basically like fungal networks that function in tree roots to help them communicate with one another. But it's just really, really interesting. Like, it's so fascinating to me, the idea that there's like a mother tree and that she uses these networks to communicate with the younger trees and shares resources. Like, that's just such an amazing thing to me. Like, I need to like drop everything and learn about this. Speaking of which, have you guys seen the stuff about like personal curriculum? Basically the idea of it is just like you create kind of like a college course essentially for yourself just on whatever you want to learn about. And you can do it however long, you know, like if you want to do it like as a semester. You can do multiple courses for yourself. You can have yourself do assignments, like write essays and do projects and stuff, or you can just, you know, learn about it. You can read, you can watch content about it. I think I might make a whole video about it because I watched a couple videos about it and I was like, I feel like I need to do this, and I'm feeling really excited about it, and I have a lot of ideas turning. So let me know if you want a video about that. Even if you don't, I'm probably gonna make it anyway. But hopefully you also want it. So it's not just me being like, here you go. But yeah, definitely like mushrooms are on my list of things I'm like, I could study that for 3 months. I really could. So yeah, I'm excited to keep diving into this book and learning more about mycorrhizal networks, and then also just how trees like communicate with one another, because it's just so interesting. Like, it's so interesting. I don't know how to express that this is like the most fascinating thing in the world to me. We'll see how much reading I can get done because my daughter is really struggling with the concept of quiet time today. Our schedule was thrown off a little because we had to go to the doctor, and so I put them down like an hour later than I normally do, and she does not want to be in her room. So anyway, I'll check in with you probably partway through the book, and hopefully I can finish it today. That'd be great. That's my goal. So I'm now 58% of the way through The Hidden Life of Trees, and I'm really loving it so far. I really think it's interestingly written. I think it maybe could be a little bit shorter because there are some things that are a little redundant, but I am finding it all of it really fascinating. So the redundancy's not really bugging me that much because I'm like, it's still interesting. I still am really enjoying learning about it. So there's some really interesting things that I've never quite thought about, and I really am so fascinated by the relationship between trees and fungi, and how, you know, because mycorrhizal networks, which are fungal networks, help roots. I think I mentioned this earlier. They live within the roots of trees and they help each other communicate. But then also, you know, if a tree gets damaged somehow in its bark, then other types of fungus immediately come in and turn the inside of it to mush, basically, and can kill the tree really quickly. And so it's just really interesting, like learning about how different types of fungus react differently with trees, and how some of them are really beneficial and some of them are deadly, and when those differences happen. And that's something that I find really interesting. And so it was talking about how like sometimes there's like this standoff when a tree gets injured, because especially in the summertime, like the spring and summer, when the inside of the bark is extremely wet because the tree still has all of its water stored up, and none of it has been depleted yet, and so it's too wet for fungus to thrive, because mushroom, fungus, bacteria, they thrive in damp conditions, but if it's too wet, it will kill them. And so it said there's like, sometimes there's this like very slow but intense standoff between the tree trying to heal itself and the fungus wanting to take over, but then the longer it takes for the tree to heal, which is a long process, the more that part dries out. And the drier it gets, the more that fungus and that bacteria can come in and attack the tree. So I just found that really interesting to learn about. So yeah, so I'm a little over halfway, and I really hope I can finish it. We'll see if my kids fall asleep. I'm trying something kind of different for their quiet time, nap time, because my son has had a really hard time sleeping, and I think that I'm just making their quiet time too long, and he's napping for too long when he does fall asleep, and so I'm just trying to kind of adjust their routine a little bit. It might result in adjust in routine for myself as well. We'll see how things go, but I might have to go down to 1 video a week for a while, just while I'm getting used to this new routine with the kids, because I don't really like to film that much like when they're up. I don't like to have them in my videos at all, and when they're awake, I try to give them my full attention, and so it just kind of depends on what I'm doing. Some things are, like, if I'm doing a project, like a craft project, I don't mind them being there for it as much, and I just try not to, like, have them be in the video that much. But anyway, all of that to say, I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to read today, but I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna try and finish this book, and yeah. I was also thinking about going for a walk though, because it's a blustery day, but it's kind of warm. I wonder what the temperature is. I went outside and I was like, oh, it's much warmer than I thought. Oh yeah, it's 57 degrees right now, so that's pretty warm. So I might go for a little walk. I'll update you later. Okay, I finished The Hidden Life of Trees. I think I'm probably gonna give this like a 4-star, maybe 4.5. I feel like it was not quite a 5-star for me, just because, like I said, there were some redundancies, and some of it I was a little bit like, okay, wait, we already talked about this. I think it just could have been cut up a little bit cleaner, but I thought it was really interesting. There were some really interesting conversations about deforestation and logging, and how, like a lot of people will be like, well, if we cut down this amount of trees, it's okay because we'll plant new ones. And while that idea is good in theory and better than not planting anything, those trees that you've now planted don't have a mother tree to look to. And so, oftentimes, like, if a young sapling comes up on its own, it has the mother tree connected through the mycorrhizal network that can kind of basically give it instructions, tell it how much water to use, how much water to conserve, and in emergencies will even share resources with that young tree, such as sugars, to keep that tree alive. And so when you cut down all of the old ones and put in new ones, they don't have that kind of older generation, if you will, to give them instructions on what to do. So that's just such a fascinating idea to me, because it really brings, I think, a level of like humanity to nature, the idea of relationships and community and relying on your community. So that's just something to ponder. It's something that's really interesting to think about, and something that I definitely want to learn more about. I am so interested in, I guess, trees in general. Mycorrhizal networks are really interesting to me, and I feel like I live in the perfect place for it. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so there's definitely a lot of trees and a lot of mushrooms. There are a lot of mushrooms in this area. So thank you for coming along with me on this short little couple day reading vlog. I just wanted to get these books in. I still have one more book that is due, I think, in 2 days, Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline, what's her last name? Benson, maybe? Yes. We'll see if I can finish that. Definitely not in time for this video, but stay tuned, I guess, to see if I end up actually reading it or if the library hold gets the better of me. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!